According to Philadelphia's Brian Baba Jennings, the Vladimir Klitschko fight is not fully 100% yet. Right now it's January the 18th, 2015. I'm T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. Now, basically, I guess you can say that the holdup is money. Now, Vladimir Klitschko just signed the new HBO deal, and he's going to be coming here to the United States for this fight, something that hasn't happened since 2008. If I'm correct. Long story short, it's a very, very big event. Vladimir Klitschko is coming to the United States. The IBF, WBA, WBO, Ring Magazine, IBO, heavyweight champion of the world is coming to the United States to fight the #1 contender for Deontay Wilder's WBC heavyweight title, Brian Baba Jennings. I'm T Street Controversy for RealCombatMedia.com, and I cover every single major fight live. News, predictions, press conferences, post-fights, interviews, you name it. And guess what? There's no time too early or no time too late. When you're asleep, I've been up. I think that's how it goes. But anyway, the heavyweight division is fruitful right now. The heavyweight division is not dead and boring as people said it once was, and as frankly it was. When you look at these mandatory challengers now, they all bring something different to the table. When you look at these contenders, when you look at these challengers, and you compare them to 2-3 years ago, you think like, wow, this is a big, step up. Now, let me just throw names out there, whether you win or loss. Let me just throw names out there. So we're going to start a little bit lower at the bottom. We're going to start with Derek Chisora, David Price, Robert Helenius, Anthony Joshua, what is his name? Joseph Parker. You got Malik Scott. You got, of course, Romain Stavern, Chris Arreola, Antonio Tarver, Luis Ortiz, who failed the drug test. Mike Perez, Alexander Povetkin. You got Marco Huck, who may be moving up to heavyweight. Steve Cunningham, Amir Mansour, and remember, I'm just at the mid level working my way up. So when you look at Deontay Wilder, when you look at Klitschko, when you look at Tyson Fury, when you look at David Haye floating around out there, there's a lot of Andy Ruiz if he can get his weight under control. And I know I'm missing a whole lot of names. People gonna say, well, why didn't you say this and this? Lucas Brown. When you look at the heavyweight division and you look at the styles of these fighters, they're all entertaining in their own right. So when you look at over the last year, the WBC, the WBA, and the IBL are in cahoots. They've had 3 meetings in 2014. Are in cahoots to basically help better the sport of boxing by forcing the mandatories and doing right by the boxers. So that's one thing, if you had not noticed, that the mandatories have had to fight the mandatories, and they have been doing such unless they was offered a tremendous whole crazy buyout like Victor Postol and for Denny Garcia. So looking at the landscape of the heavyweight division, for people to say that it's boring, match Deontay Wilder up with Tyson Fury. Match Deontay Wilder up with Brian Jennings. Match Brian Jennings up with a Tyson Fury. Match a Steve Cunningham up against a Brian Jennings or or Romain Stavern. Match Amir Mansour up against Deontay Wilder. So you get where I'm going. There's so many fights, and then with the prospects that's coming up, you thinking you got Anthony Joshua out there on the WBC trail. I think he's like the WBC European Intercontinental Double National Champion or something. I don't know. They got crazy belts, but it's not boring anymore. So as far as the hold up for the Brian Jennings versus Vladimir Klitschko fight, I honestly don't know what it is. What I'm hearing is his money, and if you don't know, Brian Jennings is now a Rock Nation fighter. Gary Shaw Productions, which had Brian Jennings, Kimbo Slice, a few other fighters. I know I'm supposed to know. I forgot, because I've been sleeping, long story short. But I guess maybe finalizing the deal with Rock Nation, and also since it's going to be a Rock Nation card, you could think that, well, the production value is going to be a little higher now than it would be if it was a Gary Shaw Productions thing. But so now you got K2, who promotes Vladimir, and then you got Rock Nation. That's going to be a crazy card. So I'm pretty sure, you know, it's probably down to the money because now the card and it means a lot more now. And also, you know, Brian Jennings being the #1 heavyweight in Rock Nation right now, if he was to take a defeat to Vladimir Klitschko, you want to make sure he's getting paid right. So there's a lot, you know, of fine details that we don't know yet. But as it stands right now, yes, we know it's happening. But, you know, it's just some things that they got to finalize, get their bread. And also, Brian Jennings has the bargaining chip of being the WBC #1 contender, which Vladimir Klitschko wants. Because remember, big brother Vitaly Klitschko retired the WBC champion, and Bermane Stiverne took on Chris Arreola to be the #1 contender, even though Bermane Stiverne was the #1 contender for quite some time. When he took on Chris Arreola for the first time, that was for a shot to fight Vitaly Klitschko before he dropped the belt. So then when they fought for the second time, that's when Bermane Stiverne won the belt. And now you got Brian Jennings, who's the #1 contender now, you know, after defeating Mike Perez, you know, who can leverage over Vladimir Klitschko. Well, I know you want your brother's belt. And also Vladimir Klitschko right now is the closest to becoming an undisputed champion. Him and Sergey Kovalev to becoming an undisputed champion as far as WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF, and then ring. So he heavily covets that belt. Now behind that, you got Alexander Povetkin, who is supposed to be taking on Mike Perez sometime within the next 3 to 6 months, and basically that's going to be the #1 contender for after Jennings. And you know, and that's how the WBC has been working. If you notice, they've been making sure they've been making their mandatories and making sure guys are getting their shots. Thanks to Mauricio Sulaiman. You know, with his pop, you know, I'm not disrespecting his pop or whatever, but with his pop, you know, like that old school way, you know, it had to go. You know, of protecting things like that. When you got James DeGale, the WBC #1 contender for God knows how long. Same thing happened to Bermane Stiverne. So I'm T-Street Controversial with RealCombatMedia.com. Thank you, Al Heyman. I cover every single major fight live, news, predictions. I probably said it already at the beginning of the video, didn't I? T-Street Controversy Live. Please subscribe.